The dropship cut through the gray clouds like a knife. Rain poured over the canopy of dark, endless forest below. The pilot didn't speak. He knew who was sitting behind him. Velza, elite huntress of the Shiratha Dominion, checked the sharp edge of her plasma blade and closed her armor seals. Her black and silver exosuit hugged her body like a second skin. The green glow of her visor scanned the terrain. Wind speed, temperature, biological signs. All normal for now. Target, she asked. The pilot handed her a glowing disc. Human spy? Codename, Wraith. Intel says he's hiding in Sector 19 of this forest. Velza took the disc without a word. She knew humans. Weak bones, short lives. Loud footsteps, but clever. So clever it made them dangerous. This one had survived alone for months. Dominion commanders feared what secrets he might have stolen. They sent her to silence him. The ship landed with a soft hiss. No lights, no noise. The door opened, revealing a dense, foggy woodland. Velza stepped out into the mud. Tall trees surrounded her like towers. The forest was quiet, too quiet. She activated her cloaking system. Her body shimmered, then vanished into the mist. The hunt had begun. She moved like a shadow. Quiet, fast, deadly. Her senses stretched out in every direction. She followed broken branches, disturbed soil, the faint heat signature of a campfire long gone. The human had covered his tracks well, but not well enough. After 2 hours, she found a shelter rolled, hidden under roots and rocks. It was empty, but not abandoned. A trap triggered, dropping a net from above. She dodged it easily. Another trap, a spiked pit, almost fooled her. She smirked. Clever monkey, she whispered. She scanned again. There were footprints 2 days old. But near them, a small shard of glass, a mirror. Placed on purpose, reflecting sunlight in a pattern. A message? Velza looked closer. The reflection formed a word in Dominion language. Seen. Tensed. This human wasn't just hiding, he was watching. That night, she climbed to a high ridge and camped in a tree. Her drone hovered nearby, scanning for movement. She sent a report. No contact yet. Target active, intelligent, dangerous. Dangerous. Her visor glowed softly in the dark. Below her the forest breathed. Fog drifted between trees like ghosts. Then a sound, not an animal, not the wind. It was ... talking. A voice garbled. Low. She tuned her visor. You don't belong here, the voice said. It was coming from an old Dominion helmet placed in the clearing below. She climbed down slowly, approached with caution. The helmet wasn't just speaking, it was playing her own voice, her mission log mixed with distorted messages. She knelt down. The device was wired to a small battery and speaker. Human dash maid, he had recorded her, was listening. A light flashed to her right. She turned fast, too fast. A dart hit her shoulder, small, sharp, laced with a tranquilizer. Her armor held off. Most of it, but the needle found skin. She stumbled back behind a tree, raised her blaster, fired toward the dart's path. No one there. Her drone scanned. Nothing. Only trees. She was breathing harder now. Not from the dart, but from surprise. A human had hit her, hunted her. The next morning, she woke in a different location. Her drone had moved her during the night. The dart's drug had almost knocked her out. She checked her gear. One ration pack was missing. So was her emergency beacon. He had taken it. Velza growled softly. He's mocking me. She reprogrammed her drone, switched to thermal vision, and scanned the forest again. No heat signals. No fire, no power sources. But then she noticed something strange. Her own tracker was being looped, showing false paths. Circles. Loops. Leading her deeper into a maze of thick woods. She stopped walking. Looked up. On a branch above her, nailed into the bark, was another mirror. It said, "Follow me, Velza New Traps." She had walked through battlefields of ice, fire, and radiation. But this was something else. This was personal, this. Human wasn't just smart. He was trying to get into her head, and it was starting to work. She decided it was time to end it. No more scanning. No more chasing. She pulled out a small black cube. She placed it on a tree trunk. The cube unfolded. Into a tiny beacon? She activated it, then walked away visible, loud. Making herself a target. She was bait now. She didn't need to find him. He would come to her as she walked through the clearing. The forest fell silent again. A low beeping started in her ear. Her drone's signal was jammed. Then a shadow moved fast. Human-sized, a blur between the trees. She spun, blade ready, but nothing. Suddenly a rope tightened around her ankle and yanked her upward. She flipped. Dangling from a branch, her blaster clattered to the ground. She cut herself free with her blade and dropped, landing in a crouch, and then finally she saw him. Just for a moment, a tall man in a hood, camouflage masked face, holding a rifle. He looked straight at her, then he was gone again, but not before leaving behind a whisper, carried by a speaker hidden in the trees. "You're not the only hunter." Welza moved quickly through the woods, her boots silent on the soft forest floor. Her eyes scanned every branch, every leaf. The human had shown himself, but only for a second. He was fast, quiet, and confident. Most prey ran when she came. Close, this one didn't run. He left a message instead. "You're not the only hunter." Velsa didn't like games. She was a warrior, trained from childhood to track and kill enemies of the Shirathi Dominion. But this man was not just hiding. He was fighting back, and doing it well. She activated her armor's scanner again. But the forest was full of false signals. Heat sources appeared and vanished. Footsteps led to dead ends. Some plants were marked with chemicals that confused her sensors. The human spy was not just a soldier. He knew technology. He knew how to fool her systems. And now he was hunting her. For the next 2 days, Valza followed fresh trails. She found broken branches, scraps of fabric, and old campfires. But each time she got close, the trail ended in a trap. One time, she almost stepped into a pit filled with sharpened wood. Another time, she triggered a net that dropped from the trees. She escaped easily, but it was clear he was testing her. She also found strange things in the woods. Old Dominion tech taken from fallen scouts. Rebuilt devices turned into alarms and motion detectors. In one place, a rusted Shirathi helmet had been placed on a stick, its visor, cracked and glowing red dot. It wasn't just junk. It was a message. "I know you're kind. I've killed them before." At night, the forest grew colder. Elsa built no fire. She didn't need warmth, but she needed focus. The sounds of insects and wind were normal, but sometimes she heard whispers. Small speakers hidden in the trees, repeated old recordings, a child's laugh, Dominion commander's voice, her own footsteps. He was trying to confuse her. Still, she didn't stop. Velza had one goal: kill the human, recover the stolen intel, and leave. But something had changed. Now, she wanted to understand him. On the third day, Velza found something strange. A stone circle, clearly man-made. At its center was a wooden post, and tied to it was a small metal box. Her scanner said it was harmless. She opened it. Inside was a datapad turned on. It played a video. The screen showed Dominion soldiers burning a village and human civilians screaming and running. The soldiers laughed. One of them kicked a small child. Another fired into the crowd. Velza felt something stir inside her. She had seen this kind of footage before, but it had always been called necessary action. Was this the kind of truth the spy wanted to protect? Or was he trying to make her doubt her mission? Later that night, as she walked near a shallow stream, a loud snap echoed. She turned fast, blade ready, but a small explosion knocked her back. Smoke filled the air. Another trap. As she coughed, she heard a voice behind her, getting tired. Yet, she swung her blade, but hit nothing. "I could have killed you 10 times by now," the voice said again. "But I didn't." Elsa spun in a circle, searching the trees. "Why not?" she shouted. Silence. Then one word came back. "Because you're not like the others." She stood still, listening. "What do you mean?" she asked, No answer, only the sound of wind and leaves. Velza's pride was wounded. She was not used to being played with. Back on her homeworld, she had passed every test. She had hunted beasts twice her size. She had killed enemy captains in hand-to-hand combat, but this human had made her feel like prey. She sat by a tree, breathing slowly. Her mind replayed everything: his traps, his words, the datapad, the false signals. It wasn't random. He wanted her to think. But think about what? As the stars appeared overhead, Velza opened a secure file on her wrist device, showed her target's file, name, unknown codename, wraith status, high threat skills, infiltration, Stella tactics, stealth last known mission, escaped from Hellion massacre, presumed dead. Resurfaced with stolen Dominion battle data, she stared at the words Hellion massacre. She had heard of Hellion, a resistant city destroyed by Dominion order. Civilians, scientists, children. Was this man the only survivor? Suddenly it all made sense. He wasn't just running. He was fighting back for a reason that night. Velza didn't sleep. She sat in silence, watching the trees, and in the morning, something new happened. She woke to find a small box near her boots. Inside was food. Real food. Not from the forest. Human rations. Clean, safe. And a note. You're not my enemy. Not yet. Velza held the note in her hand for a long time. No trap. No poison. Just a message. And maybe it's a warning or an invitation. Velza stared at the food packet in her hand. It was human military rations, perfectly sealed, still fresh. The note beside it read, "You're not my enemy. Not yet." As she looked around, scanning the trees. No movement, no heat signatures, no sound except the wind and birds. He had been here, close enough to leave this at her side while she slept. And she didn't even sense him. Her pride was crushed again. But something else had begun to grow inside her, feeling she had not felt in years: curiosity. She did not eat the food. Not yet. Instead, she scanned it carefully. No poison, no trackers, no strange chemicals. It was clean. But what did that mean? Why? Would a human spy, her target, feed her? Was it a trick? Orcs stored the food and continued her hunt. But something had changed. She was no longer walking like a weapon. She was walking like a soldier, with questions. Later that day, she found the remains of an old base hidden under dirt and vines. It had once been a small Dominion outpost. Now it was destroyed. Signs of a battle were everywhere. Burnt walls, broken armor, scattered weapons. But what caught her attention was what wasn't there. No bodies, no blood. Everything was cleaned up. She searched deeper inside and found a control panel still working. It took her 10 minutes to hack in. Inside the system were records, logs, orders, secret communications. She read them slowly. Mission order. All Hellion civilians to be marked as resistance threats. Full elimination approved. Follow-up report. Hellion site cleansed. No survivors expected. One human unaccounted for. Possible escape. Got a name. Wrath of Velza. Stood in silence. Her mission had not told her any of this. She had been told the human was a spy, dangerous. Yes, but not why. Now she understood. He had watched his people die. Escaped. And now he was striking back. But the Dominion didn't send her to stop a thief. They sent her to silence the truth that evening. She sat by a cold stream and looked at her reflection. Her own eyes stared back hard, focused, trained. But she no longer liked what she saw. For the first time, she thought about the humans not as weak or foolish, but as fighting to survive. Was she still the hunter? Or was she the weapon used by something darker? Suddenly, her drone beeped. Motion detected. She stood fast, blade in hand. A shape moved through the trees, fast, light-footed, no sound. She ran after it, through trees, caught tossed rocks, jumping over roots. Her body moved like lightning. She saw him, a Guinea figure in green and brown, wearing a hood. His face was covered. He glanced back once, then vanished behind a thick wall of leaves. Velza didn't stop. She leaped through the leaves and landed in a pit. The fall was short, sharp. She hit the ground and rolled to her feet, ready for a fight, but the pit was empty. Only one thing was there, a small crate with a blinking red light. She stepped closer. The light turned green. A voice played. His voice, "I don't want to kill you," it said. "I've seen what your kind does, but I've also seen what you haven't done." Velza stood still, listening. "You had the chance to finish me. Twice, you didn't. That means something." He paused. "Maybe you're different." A small compartment opened in the crate. Inside was a device, a data crystal. "I know what the Dominion is hiding. This crystal holds everything, proof of the Helion massacre, war crimes, secret orders." E stared at the glowing crystal. "This is what I've been protecting. This is why they want me dead." The voice became quieter. "You can leave. Take the crystal, or you can keep chasing me. But know this, if you bring me down, you're not killing a threat. You're killing the truth." The message ended. Silence returned. Velza climbed out of the pit slowly. She didn't look back. Crystal was still in her hand. She didn't crush it. She didn't destroy it. She put it in her armor's pocket. Night came again. She did not hide. She sat beside a tree and waited. A few hours passed. Then a whisper came from behind her. "No traps. Tonight." She didn't move. "Why did you show yourself again?" "'Cause I think you're ready to hear it." She turned. The man was there. Wraith's face still covered, but his voice was calm, not angry, not afraid. "You're supposed to kill me, aren't you?" Velza nodded. "Yes. Will you?" She didn't answer. "I lost everything at Helion," Wraith said. "My family. My people. The Dominion said we were traitors. We weren't." "I know," she said softly. He tilted his head. "Then why are you still here?" She looked down. "'Cause I was told lies, and I believed them." A long silence passed between them. Then she threw something toward him. He caught it. The food packet, still sealed. "You gave me a gift," she said. "I'm returning it." Wraith gave a small laugh. "So what happens now?" Velza stood slowly. "I'm going to finish my mission," she said. He stepped back, alert. But she added, "Maybe not the way my masters expected." She turned away and walked into the darkness. Wraith stood alone for a moment, then looked at the data crystal in his hand. It was gone. She had left him a decoy and taken the real one with her. Velza moved through the forest like a ghost, her cloak shimmering softly in the moonlight. She was no longer hunting. She was deciding. The data crystal sat in a hidden compartment in her armor. Inside it were videos, voice logs, secret orders, all proof that the Dominion had lied. That Helion wasn't a military base, but a peaceful human city. That they had wiped it out to crush resistance and silence truth. And now she knew Wraith wasn't the criminal. He was the witness, for the first time in her life. Velza questioned her mission. She had trained her whole life to serve the Dominion, to follow orders without doubt. She was an elite and example to others. But now she had a choice. Destroy the data, kill the human, and return as a hero, or betray everything she knew for a truth that wasn't hers. She stopped near a tall stone cliff. It gave her a clear view over the forest. The night wind blew through her armor vents. She breathed deeply. Her communication device buzzed. "Command incoming. Huntress Velza. Mission status requested. Time expired. Respond immediately." She stared at the message, then typed a reply. "Target still at large. Terrain difficult. Will require more time." She didn't hit send yet. She looked out at the forest again. What if I lie for the right reason? Sound behind her made her turn fast. It was Wrath again. He moved silently, but she was faster now. Her blade came halfway out of its sheath. He raised his hand slowly. "No tricks," he said. "I didn't come to fight." She kept her weapon ready. "Then why are you here?" "To ask if you've decided?" Velza narrowed her eyes. "You could have run. Why stay?" Wraith walked closer, careful, slow. "Because if you were going to kill me, you already would have." She paused. then lowered her weapon. He sat on a fallen log near the cliff edge. The two of them watched the stars in silence. "You're not like them," Wraith said quietly. "You're not blind." Velsa didn't answer right away. "I wasn't always blind," she finally said. "But I stopped asking questions long ago. It was easier." He nodded. "I understand that." She looked at him. "Why did you leave the crystal for me?" "'Cause if I die, someone still needs to know. And you trusted me?" "I trusted the way you hesitated." A few moments passed, then Wraith spoke again. "What will you do now?" Velsa stood. "I don't know. If I go back, they'll take the crystal. Maybe my life, too." "And don't go back," Wraith said. She turned to him. "And go where? My people will hunt me. I'll be branded a traitor." He stood as well. "Then join me." Velsa tilted her head. "Join you? You live in trees and set traps?" "I survive," he said. "I gather truth. Share it with those who will listen. That doesn't sound like a plan." He smiled under his mask. "It's better than killing people for lies." She stared at him for a long moment, then gave the smallest nod. The next morning, Velsa sent a coded signal from an abandoned tower deep in the woods. Message to command. Subject located. Engaged. Target eliminated. Body unrecoverable. Data destroyed in crossfire. I am returning to base for extraction. She clicked send, then shut the device down permanently. Wraith was watching from a distance. "That'll buy you time, but not forever." "I know." She said. She took one last look at the tower, then dropped a charge and blew it up. No traces. No evidence. They walked away from the smoke, deeper into the forest. Days passed. Velsa and Wraith moved together now. She taught him how to disable Dominion tracking systems. He showed her where old listening posts were hidden. Together, they mapped safe zones, neutral areas, and ruins filled with lost tech. They worked in silence most days, but the silence felt different. Now, not cold, not threatening, just quiet understanding. One night, as they camped under a rock shelf, checked her armor, he finally spoke. "You said you were trained from childhood. Were you ever allowed to say no?" She didn't look up. "No. Saying no meant failure. Failure meant death." He nodded. "I thought so." She looked at him. "And you? Were you always a soldier?" "No," he said. "I was an engineer. I built things. Machines, bridges, power systems." "What happened?" He stared into the fire. "They made me build weapons." I said no, and they punished you. "Don't. They bombed my home." She had helped bomb that home, and he didn't even hate her. That was the part that hurt most. Weeks passed, then one day, Wraith handed her a small device. "Signal booster." He said, "You can use it to send a short-range message. It's untraceable. Works for a few seconds." "Who do you expect me to call?" she asked. "Whoever you trust." Velsa held the device carefully. Did she trust anyone? Maybe. One person. That night, she sent a burst message to an old squad mate, medic. Loyal but kind. The message was simple. The human was not the enemy. We were. I have proof. Decide what side you're on before they decide for you. She knew the message might be ignored, or it might spark a change. Either way, she had made her choice. As she and Wraith walked through the trees the next morning, he asked her a question. So ... Are we allies now? She thought for a moment. "No," she said with a small smile. "We're something more dangerous than allies." Raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "The people who know the truth." The forest was quiet again. Birds chirped, leaves rustled, and the wind whispered through tall trees. But deep inside the woods, something dangerous was growing. Not a weapon, not a bomb, a truth. Velsa and Wraith now worked like a team. They didn't speak much, but they understood each other without words. Both were soldiers once. Both had followed orders. Both had been lied to. Now they had one goal: expose the Dominion. The data crystal Velsa had taken still pulsed gently with blue light. It was stored inside a lead-lined case, wrapped in shock-proof foam. Every day they added more files to it, told Dominion reports, survivor interviews, proof of war crimes. "I know a place," Wraith said one morning, as they ate near a quiet stream. "A relay tower, hidden in the mountains, long abandoned. But if we repair it, we can send the signal." "What signal?" Velza asked. "The truth. The tower was 2 days away. It was risky. Dominion scouts still patrolled nearby areas. But they had no choice. The world had to know. So they moved." On the first night of their journey, they found a wrecked Dominion dropship half buried in vines. Velsa scavenged parts from its cum system. Wraith pulled out a working energy. "Cell, you were right," she said. "You are an engineer." He smiled. Still a soldier, though they shared a quiet moment. No threats, no lies. Just two people who once served machines of war, now trying to break them. By the second day, the ground rose steeply. Jagged rocks and cold winds made the path harder. The trees thinned and snow appeared on the edges of their boots. Wraith looked tired, but didn't stop. Velsa noticed, but said nothing. She just handed him a nutrient pack without a word. He took it with a nod as they neared the mountain pass. Velza's armor buzzed softly. "Incoming signal. All patrol units suspect Wraith still alive. Possible traitor among Dominion. Ranks. High alert. Permission to terminate all contacts." She closed the message quickly. "They know," she said. WRAITH nodded, and we're running out of time. That night, they reached the base of the tower. It stood like a silent giant, covered in ice and rust. Metal panels had fallen. Wires hung loose like vines. But the main dish still pointed toward the sky. "We can fix this," Wraith said. "But we only get one shot. Once the signal is sent, they'll trace it fast." "How long do we need?" Velza asked. 5 minutes to power it up? 30 seconds to upload? That's it." She looked around. "Then I'll guard you." The next morning, snow began to fall. Old wind blew across the cliffs. Wraith worked fast, hands shaking. Slightly as he connected wires and tested old circuits, Velza climbed to the top of a nearby ridge, setting up motion sensors and trip alarms. She scanned for heat signatures. Life signs. Anything. Nothing. For now. An hour later. The tower hummed to life. Lights flickered. The screen turned blue. "Signal ready," Wraith said. He inserted the crystal. Upload began 29.28. 27. That's when the sensors screamed. Valsa's wrist lit up. Incoming contacts. For fast. Armed, she moved quickly, growing her plasma blade and activating her shield. "They're coming," she called out. Wraith didn't stop working. "Hold the signal. You stop them." She ran into the snow-covered trees just as the first Dominion trooper appeared, blaster ready, her armor shining. Velza didn't hesitate. She struck fast, disabling his weapon and knocking him into the snow. Another came from the right. She rolled, flipped behind him, and hit his pressure point. 2 down, 14, ... 13, ... Back at the tower, Wraith blocked the cold wind with his body as the upload continued. Sparks flew from the panel. "Hold on, ... Third trooper reached him, firing at the base of the tower. Shot hit the energy cell. Smoke poured out. Velza saw it and shouted, "NO!" She leapt from the rocks and tackled the soldier. Disarming him and throwing him off the ledge, Wraith grabbed the crystal and jammed it into a backup port. 5, ... 4, ... 3, ... Another blast hit the tower, shaking it. The screen blinked red. Then green. Upload. Complete signal sent to every rebel station. Every hidden base. Every civilian network. The truth was out. Silence fell. The last soldier retreated into the trees, calling for. Baka Velsa helped Wraith down from the tower. He smiled, weak but alive. "We did it." That night, they watched the stars again. "Do you think it'll work?" she asked. Wraith shrugged. He gave them the truth. What they do with it, ... is up to them. She nodded, but deep inside she knew something had changed. Somewhere, people were reading the message, watching the videos, hearing the truth, and they would not forget 2 days later. Dominion sent a full squad to the mountain, but the tower was empty. No trace of the crystal, no bodies, just one symbol burned into the rock. A human hand and an alien claw joined together. The snow had melted. Spring touched the forest, now soft leaves, blooming flowers, and the sound of birds returning. Yet deep beneath the beauty, something powerful stirred. Not fear, hope. The truth had spread like wildfire across systems, smuggled on black market ships, whispered in back rooms, aired on rebel networks. The Dominion tried to shut it down, but it was too late. The message was out. In a quiet clearing near a river, Wraith adjusted a small satellite dish. It faced the sky, blinking. Softly, Velza stood nearby, arms crossed, eyes scanning the trees. "Any response yet?" she asked. Soon he replied. The signal went to more than just rebels. She raised an eyebrow. "You contacted other Dominion soldiers too? Only a few? Ones like you? Ones who still think?" Velsa didn't answer. But deep inside, she hoped he was right. That night, they camped under the stars again. No alarms, no threats. "Just peace for now. I wasn't sure I'd live this long," Wraith said with a quiet laugh. Wilzel looked up at the stars. Neither. Was one. He sat up. "Do you regret it? Leaving everything behind?" She thought for a long moment. "No," she said at last. "For the first time, I feel like I'm walking the right path." Wraith smiled. "Even if it's the hard one. Especially because it's the hard one." The next morning, a strange signal pinged their receiver. Not Dominion, not Rebel, something. New, encrypted, clean. Valza checked the code. "It's from one of my old squad mates, the medic." She played the message. A calm voice spoke. "Huntress, I saw the files. I verified them. You were right. Not everyone believes the lies anymore. Be careful, they've placed a bounty on your head. But know this, you are not alone." The message ended with a new symbol, a half-open eye, the sign of the silent resistance, Veil. Closed her eyes. "They're waking up," she said softly. Later that day, they'd met someone new. A young Dominion pilot barely out of training stood on the edge of the forest with her hands raised. "I saw your signal," she said. "I don't want to be part of their lies anymore." Velza stepped forward, cautious. "Why come to us?" "Because I want to help. I know flight routes, hidden hangars, and patrol times." Wraith looked at Velza. She nodded. "Then help us fly," she said. They set up a new base, deeper in the mountains. Not big, not fancy, but hidden. Others arrived. A scientist from a Dominion lab, a rebel scout who had thought all aliens were evil until now, a family from Helion who had lost everything, but still believed in rebuilding. One by one, they came. The movement had no leader, only truth, and the symbol of the joined hand and claw. Weeks passed. Then months, every day, they sent small truths out. More videos, more files, survivor stories. Translated for every world, the Dominion called it terrorist lies. But people listened, even some Dominion officers. One day, while repairing a relay, Drone Wraith turned to Valeza. "You know," he said, "you never told me your real name." She looked at him, then smiled a small, rare smile. "It's Jalari," she said. "Only my family used it." He nodded slowly. "Jalari, I like it." She raised an eyebrow. "And yours?" He hesitated. "Cassian." She nodded. "Cassian and Jalari, from Hunter and Hunted. 2 partners. Not a bad change," he said. The day finally came when they had to act. The Dominion was preparing a new campaign of war built on lies. They had sent propaganda across the stars, trying to silence the message. But Jalari and Cassian had a final trick. A hacked Dominion signal burst. Short, powerful, and live. Across. Thousands of systems, screens flickered. A face appeared not. A rebel, not a soldier, but a child from Helion. It's full of fear, asking, "Why did they burn our city?" and video of the bombing. Data logs, confessions, orders. Undeniable. Undeniable. That was the final push. That was the final push. The people rose, not in chaos, but with courage. Some Dominion officers stood down, some rebelled, others fled. The chain of fear was broken, and the ones who once controlled the stars, they now feared the very truth they tried to erase. Back in the forest, Jalari and Cassian stood on a hill, watching the sunrise. "It's not over," he said. "No," she agreed, "but it's beginning." He handed her a worn tracker. "One last mission?" She looked at him. "Where?" "Wherever the truth still needs to go." She clipped it to her belt, then turned toward the woods. They walked side by side. Enemies. No more. Just two souls trying to fix a broken galaxy, one truth at a time.